UCF is showing support for DACA recipients. In celebration of Hispanic Heritage Month, UCF is letting Latinx students share their stories. Nightly News tells us how UCF is helping its dreamers reach their goals. The Multicultural Student Center hosted a forum Wednesday on the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals Act.
Coming up on UCF Nightly News, the government shutdown is going into its third week. Find out how your financial aid may be affected.
And the shutdown also affects research at UCF. We'll explain what's going on with the federal grant money and the National Science Foundation.
Plus, a delay in funding for veteran students will show you the impact on them and those with veteran family members.
And in sports, what you missed over the break and what you can expect for the upcoming spring season.
Nightly News starts now. Good afternoon and welcome to Nightly News. I'm Dylan Lyons.
And I'm Abisala Adeyemo. Today is Friday, January 11th, 2019.
Federal workers will miss their first paychecks today due to the partial government shutdown. The shutdown is going on week 4 because of funding disagreements.
On Sunday, President Donald Trump asked Congress for more than $5 billion to build a barrier along the U.S.-Mexico border. Congress refuses to approve those funds, and now more than 800,000 federal workers are on leave. Here's a look at how the shutdown could affect you.
The Office of Federal Student Aid recently took to Twitter to weigh in on that shutdown that began on December 22nd. The tweet from FAFSA pulled in nearly 4,000 retweets and over 3,000 likes. Nightly News reporter Haley Rowland has more on why that tweet gained so much attention.
It would affect me greatly because I got to pay for books, housing.
Christopher Terry says that while scholarships cover his tuition, he relies on financial aid to cover other expenses. But now Terry is nervous because he isn't sure if the recent government shutdown might affect his FAFSA in the disbursement of his financial aid.
If this is what you rely on to get to school and get your education, then it would be a scary situation for you. So.
FAFSA is an application used to evaluate how much federal financial assistance a student is able to receive. With the government shutdown approaching 21 days, students across the U.S. are bombarding FAFSA's Twitter asking whether or not they will have financial aid coming in. This past week, FAFSA tweeted that the Department of Education would still be funded through the partial shutdown and that it shouldn't have any effect on students' financial aid. However, some students are still skeptical about when they can expect their aid.
I do have money to buy my own books, but here's the thing, is that if I use that money, that's money for food and bills. And if financial aid doesn't come back and give me that money, then how am I going to, same thing, how am I going to eat and pay my bills?
Kenyon says her main concern is being able to buy books because her classes already have assignments posted. Dr. Karima Manzel, the Associate Director of Financial Aid, says that student disbursements will not be affected by the shutdown. We will have more coverage about the government shutdown as it continues. In Orlando, Haley Rowland, UCF Nightly News.
FAFSA representatives urge students who may have questions to contact the Financial Aid Office. The Office of Financial Assistance is located in Milliken Hall and open from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday.
The shutdown also affects millions of dollars in funding for scientific research. The National Science Foundation awards grants for research done in engineering and most sciences. The NSF says because of the shutdown, they are unable to give grants to universities. But the Office of Research says grants.gov and research.gov are accepting proposals during the shutdown. However, deadlines won't be extended. The Office of Research says new awards won't be given until the shutdown is over. People should also allow time for the agency to work through their backlog.
The Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, could be cut off if the government shutdown continues. The U.S. Department of Agriculture says the nation's food stamp program funded 40 million Americans in 2018. The department says for February, they only have enough money to fund 60% of SNAP's recipients. By March, SNAP will be out of funding. UCF student Megan Huang is worried about the impact it could have on her family and classmates.
Family. I have friends out there whose families rely on food stamps, so it's kind of a really big issue, like if they can't afford to, pay for their foods.
Government-funded programs similar to SNAP also face potential defunding if the shutdown continues. Supermarkets, both large and small, will likely face deficits as food stamp recipients will stop shopping at grocery stores.
While the government shutdown is affecting food stamps and TSA, it's also weighing heavily on some UCF veterans and their families. Dependents of veterans receive monthly benefits from the federal government. Payouts depend on when the parent served in the military. UCF senior Monique Trevis's father served for 33 years. She warns her about the effect the shutdown can have on her benefits.
My dad had talked to me about that over winter break, actually. He was like, we don't know how long this is going to last, so you need to be saving money and stuff like that in case it's for a really long time.
Many dependents rely on the Veterans Academic Resource Center at UCF to certify courses to receive their benefits. Currently, VARC is not anticipating any delays in financial disbursement.
Anna Escamani, UCF class of 2012, started her first term in the House of Representatives. Escamani joined 7 other re-elected UCF alumni in the Florida legislature. Some re-elected UCF officials included Carlos Guillermo Smith, Amber Mariano, and Mike LaRosa.
A handful of new bills are being introduced to the Florida House of Representatives. One of the newest proposals is HB 129, Mental Health Education in School. The bill is slated to go into effect in early July. The bill revises requirements for comprehensive health education. It also provides requirements for mental and emotional health education in K-12 schools.
Lawmakers are seeking to further punish erratic drivers. If passed, the bill will charge any person who commits a moving violation that causes severe injury or death to another motor vehicle. The bill also lists penalties drivers could face in the case of an accident. Penalties include fines, house arrest, a required driver's education course, and a license suspension. Governor Ron DeSantis was sworn into office earlier this week at the state capitol. DeSantis is taking over for Rick Scott, who previously served 2 terms. The former congressman says education, health care, and stopping illegal immigration will be important topics he focuses on as governor. DeSantis says the environment is a major part of the economy, which he plans to focus his attention on.
Our economic potential will be jeopardized if we do not solve the problems afflicting our environment and water resources.
One day after being sworn in, DeSantis appointed Barbara Lagoa to the Florida Supreme Court. Lagoa is the first female Hispanic woman to be appointed to the Florida's highest court. He needs to fill 2 more vacant court seats.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Right now, a new piece of legislation does not include protections for the LGBT community. Governor Ron DeSantis signed an order just hours after his inauguration on Tuesday. It provides protections for race, sex, age, and disabilities, but not sexual orientation or gender identity. DeSantis has not yet commented on whether or not the exclusion was intentional or an oversight.
Another notable bill being proposed to the Florida House is HB 130, Sexual Battery Prosecution Time Limitations. This bill will go into effect in July of 2019. Its goal is to create an exception to current time limitations. This will allow for a prosecution to start at any time for a sexual battery case against victims under a certain age.
It's been getting pretty cold outside, don't you think so? Let's check in with Haley with our current conditions.
Yes, thank you, Abazola. It has been pretty cold outside, and we are going to see this keeping up for a while. So we're going to go ahead and look at our current conditions for today. If you can see, our temperature right now is at 67 degrees, which is nice and cool. Our humidity, we're sitting at 77%, which is pretty high for this time of year. We're looking at north winds 5 to 10 miles per hour, so it's a little gusty outside with the cool. And then we have a 0% chance of rain, so it seems like an overall perfect day to just be outside. I'll have more for you coming up. Let's take it back to Abizola and Dylan at the desk.
Thanks for that, Haley. And coming up next on Nightly News, UCF is bringing on a new financial administrator to rebuild its reputation after misusing funds for construction projects.
Also, what a UCF police commander says students can do to combat a startling statistic.
And what's shaken? The last edition of the UCF food court is now open. UCF added a new face to their administration this week. President Dale Whitaker says Lieutenant General Robert Caslin Jr. will work to make changes to the university's administration and financial operations. UCF says Caslin is a temporary hire for the school and will serve 8 months. Caslin says, quote, UCF is an exceptional institution with a strong foundation of excellence in everything it does. He continues by saying, quote, I've been thoroughly impressed with the professionalism and enthusiasm of its administration to build a better way forward.
UCF's sexual assaults rate have been on the rise since 2016. Initiatives like this, in addition to Let's Be Clear and Green Dot, are put in place to try and help reduce these numbers. UCF Police Commander James Maung says there are other steps people can take to try and prevent these crimes from occurring.
The vast majority of cases are known attackers, and they involve alcohol or drug usage. So it's something to keep in mind if you're going out with friends, to always have a group, not just 1 or 2 people, and to always have a safety plan with another friend, preferably of the same sex.
In UCF's 2018 and 2019 annual safety report, it shows that sexual offenses on campus and residential facilities have been on the rise since 2015. Maung says there are other places victims can report crimes to other than the police. He says it is important that people report these crimes so that the department can investigate and make arrests.
A sexual battery bill, HB 83, is another bill set to go into effect later this year. The bill requires the Florida Department of Law Enforcement to create a database to track evidence test kits. The bill also adds limitations for specific sexual battery offenses. HB 83 is currently going through the Criminal Justice Subcommittee. The Senate plans to enact the bill in July.
In the era of the Me Too movement, the UCF Art Gallery is hosting an exhibition made to empower sexual assault survivors. This month, the UCF Art Gallery is hosting Silent Lines, an exhibition by the artist Yvette Cummings Ardent. Ardent strives to empower sexual assault survivors by facilitating discussions of their experiences through her paintings and mixed media art. The facilitation of these discussions is still relevant after the release of the UCF Police Annual Safety Guide. According to the guide, there has been a 62% increase in reported sexual assaults from 2016 to 2017 on the UCF main campus. The exhibit will run until February 14th.
This week, Steak and Shake opened its doors in the Student Union. The popular fast food chain is the last food vendor to complete the brand new food court. Students lined up for burgers, fries, and shakes during lunchtime Monday afternoon. Last semester, the Student Union announced 5 new food vendors. 4 out of the 5 opened last fall. With the opening of Steak and Shake, the Student Union now offers a total of 10 different food options. Food trucks will no longer be available on campus now that the food court is completed.
Last week, UCF announced more information on the new, currently under construction on-campus hotel, the Pegasus Hotel. The release included statements from one of the Pegasus Hotel's partners, Al Barancaw, the Regional Director of Operations at Pinnacle Hotel Management. Barancaw stated in the release that Pinnacle had been scouting the UCF area for a long time because of a lack of high-scaled hotels in the area. The upscale hotel will feature a lobby bar, restaurant, room service, outdoor pool, and a snack pantry. While the hotel's official opening date is in early 2020, online reservations will be open at the end of the third quarter in 2019.
This past Tuesday, incoming transfer students got a chance to find out about different clubs and opportunities. A new semester means there are thousands of new transfer students at UCF. Transfer and Transition Services estimates that there are around 3,000 incoming transfer students enrolled for the spring semester. To help the new Knights get acclimated, Transfer and Transition Services held an event at Colburn Hall on Tuesday. The event was to help the students get familiar with UCF and see the different ways they can get involved. There was a UCF-related scavenger hunt, free pizza, and raffles to win different prizes. Next up on Nightly News.
A new study finds that college students are more likely than most to get a certain infection. Find out about how you can stay healthy and avoid it.
Also, a new partnership between UCF and SGA is working to keep students safe on campus.
And how the City of Orlando and the Orlando Police Department are using UCF technology to monitor crime. A new study by the Center for Disease Control and Protection shows that college students are almost 4 times more likely to get meningitis B than other adults. Meningitis B is a bacterial infection contracted by being in contact with coughing, kissing, or sneezing. Published by the CDC earlier this month, up to 15% of patients can prevent the infection through vaccination, says a new study. Registered nurse Susanna Bryan says that meningitis B is rare. However, she says that 1 in 10 patients die once it's contracted.
College students are at higher risk, especially because universities with dormitories, because they're living in close quarters. And meningitis B is transmitted through droplets in the saliva and secretions in the nose.
Bryan says that although meningitis B is common among college students, she's only seen a couple of cases at UCF. Bryan also says that good hygiene practices, like not sharing drinks, is key to prevention.
The city of Orlando is now using facial recognition technology made by UCF to monitor crime. Researchers with the university began testing the software back in 2016. It was developed using artificial intelligence technology and was funded through a grant for $1.3 million. The technology monitors crime through street cameras. So far, researchers say the technology has been effective recognizing some crimes more than others. The cameras take into account a person's facial features and then match them to a bank of people who match the description.
And Haley is back with our 5-day forecast. Haley, what can we expect this week?
Thank you, Abizola. Let me get right down to it. If we're going to look at the highs really quick over the state of Florida, Jacksonville 61, Tallahassee also 61, Tampa 70, Orlando 68, Miami 72. If we're going to look at those lows, we'll also see that Jacksonville is sitting at 43, Tallahassee 46, Orlando 55, Tampa 56, and Miami 68. It's relatively cool. And if we're going to check out that 5-day forecast real quick, we'll notice that on Saturday and Sunday, we're going to be in the 70s again, lows in the 60s and 50s, and then Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, we'll be back in the 60s, lows in the 40s, 10% chance of rain. It's going to be a relatively comfortable week, and we'll go back to Dylan and Abizola at the desk now. Thank you.
Coming up in sports, what you may have missed over winter break.
Also, UCF quarterback Mackenzie Milton gives an update on his injury.
And Nightly News has a special sneak peek into the new digs for the UCF men's baseball team.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name's Brianna Sorensen, and welcome back to your UCF Sports Update. The 25-game win streak is officially over for the UCF football team. On New Year's Day at the PlayStation Fiesta Bowl, LSU defeated the Knights 40-32. Greg McCrae, Daryl Mack Jr., Taj McGowan, and Gabriel Davis all scored touchdowns for the Knights, but it wasn't enough to hold down the Tigers. UCF relied on quarterback Mack Jr. to lead the team. Mack became UCF's starting quarterback after Mackenzie Milton suffered a season-ending leg injury 3 games prior to the Fiesta Bowl. The loss dropped UCF 4 spots to number 11 in the college football postseason rankings. While the UCF football team may not have received the outcome they were hoping for, the UCF men's and women's basketball teams thrived over the winter break. The men's basketball team went on a 6-game winning streak after losing to Missouri right before the break. The Knights also started conference play last week, defeating both Temple and UConn. BJ Taylor currently holds the highest scoring points average, averaging a little more than 17 points per game. And the UCF women's basketball team was also on a roll over the break, winning 7 of their 8 games. They also started their conference play, defeating Memphis and USF. After a season injury, UCF quarterback Mackenzie Milton posted an Instagram story yesterday that fans were delighted to see. And that's all we have for today for sports. Back to Abby Sola and Dylan at the desk.
That's our time for right now. Thanks for joining us. Remember, you can always keep up with us during the week on our website, nightlynews.ucf.edu.
And if you've got a story idea you want us to know about, send it our way. You can reach us at nightlynews@ucf.edu. Thanks for watching and have a good day.
Going to the Lakers is a match made in heaven.